This video was edited by AJ Analysis. A link to his channel will be in the description below. But before I go any further, if you do like the look of any of these retro jerseys, then go over to freeretro.com, which will be linked in the description. They have a great variety of different retro jerseys, including Arsenal, Chelsea, West Ham, as well as Brazil, Argentina, England, Barcelona and Inter Milan. And my personal favourites are this Inter Milan shirt from the early 90s, or this Celtic shirt, which I think looks very good as well. So be sure to check them out. A link will be left in the description below. Anything you do buy will be helping to support the channel. So I think it's fair to say that Arsenal have had a good season relative to previous seasons, but they can't afford to get complacent when the summer rolls around, as they do need to improve their squad, as this season they've certainly been aided in the race for the top four by both Tottenham and Manchester United shooting themselves in the foot. Arsenal need to be working towards a long-term plan. I think next season they need to be targeting top 4 consolidation, assuming they do get it this year. In 2024, they need to be comfortably in the top 4, maybe 3rd or 2nd place, and the season after they should be in a position to challenge for the title. Now that may sound over-ambitious, but I think Arsenal have suffered severely from a lack of ambition in the last decade, and therefore the players I recommend they bring in this video will be players who I still think can be important first team players by 2025 and 2026. That means that I'm going to be mostly looking at players who are under the age of 25, 26, maybe a little older for defenders, and who will be coming into their peak within the next 3 to 5 years, giving Arsenal a squad of players peaking at the same time and ready to challenge for the title. Arsenal sit in 5th place, but probably 4th after their games in hand, and do sit around 4th to 7th for X points, XG, and expected goals against at this point, which is obviously hard to compare as they do have so many games in hand. But I would say that Arsenal do need to be looking for an offensive right back, a creative central midfielder, and a centre forward as their main targets. So before we talk about the players to bring in, who should be sold or allowed to leave? Well, Lacazette and Nketiah and El Neni's contracts are up at the end of the season, and so I would allow them to leave, as I would for players like Cedric Suarez, who I think could bring in around £5 to £10 million, Bernd Leno, who could bring in around £10 million as well, as could Bellerin, Guendouzi, Rob Holding, and Reece Nelson as well, although they may have to keep around Holding and Reece Nelson just for squad depth. Lucas Torreira has a clause in his Fiorentina loan contract that allows them to buy him for around £12 million at the end of the season, and even though it may be a challenge, I reckon Arsenal could cut their losses with Pepe and potentially bring in around £15 to £20 million. That would allow Arsenal to raise anywhere from between £65 to £85 million, depending on who was actually sold. So let's first look at the right back. Amaz Tomiyasu has had a decent first season at the Emirates, being pretty solid defensively. I do think that he can be improved, certainly from an offensive point of view, but I would certainly keep Tomiyasu as he's a valuable player to have when Arsenal need greater solidarity defensively at right back, or a player who can play as a right-sided centre-back in a back three. The man I would look to bring in is Bayer Leverkusen's Jeremy Frimpong. The former Manchester City man was signed by Leverkusen in January 2021 for £10 million from Celtic and is reportedly being touted around for between 30 and 35 million. Frimpong is 21, 22 in December and is a quick diminutive right back, being around 5'7", but being rapid in terms of his acceleration off the mark and overall pace. He would improve Arsenal's ability to progress the ball forward from the defensive and middle thirds, as he utilises his acceleration and close ball control to drive past opposition players, and his dribbling ability can be seen as he has completed 2.1 dribbles per 90 this season, the second most of any Bundesliga fullback this season who has played more than 10 games, behind only Alphonso Davies, who is dominating this metric with 4.4 per 90. Frimpong is also very good in the final third, providing the offensive output of a natural winger. He sits wide and looks to either make an overlapping run down the outside or receive the ball to feet before isolating the opposition's wide player in a one-on-one, and then has the ability to drive down the outside and get into a crossing position near the byline. From where his low crossing ability is very good, able to pick out players in the box as though it's a wide pass rather than a cross. He isn't as prolific a creator as he is a dribbler, but still recording pretty good numbers. 1.3 key passes per 90, the 13th most of any fullback in the Bundesliga. He is solid defensively, not as good as Tomiyasu, but still a very good defender, having the pace and tackling ability to defend well in one-on-ones, and also being able to utilise his pace to recover and track back runners behind the back line, or leap forward out of the defensive line to make an interception. Both attributes would suit Arteta's situational aggressive pressing style and relatively high line. He's completed 1.4 tackles per 90 whilst only being dribbled past 0.5 times per 90, giving him an impressive tackle success rate of 74%. His FBref report shows how good he is from an offensive point of view, sitting in the 88th percentile for expected assists, the 92nd for actual assists, the 99th for progressive carries, and the 97th for dribbles completed, showing that he's a very good chance creator and an elite level ball progressor. Whilst his defensive metrics do look low, you have to factor in that he does play for Bayer Leverkusen, who are one of the top sides in the Bundesliga, so naturally those will be lower. But overall, I think the Dutchman is one of the best young right backs in the world and has the potential to be top level as well. Also in the defence, I think Arsenal have to bring back William Saliba, who I think would make a very good centre back partnership with Ben White, with Gabriel as an alternative option for some games as well. I would have also liked to see Mavropanos recorded as fourth choice, but it looks like Stuttgart will exercise their £5 million option to buy, and so Arsenal may be forced to hold on to Rob Holding in the event that they do need a fourth choice centre back. So central midfield is another position where Arsenal do need to upgrade, and I would look to move for Lyon's 22-year-old Frenchman Maxime Caqueret, who I think could be available for as little as £20 million, as come the summer he'll have just 1 year left on his contract. Caqueret is one of my favourite central midfielders in Europe at the moment, and I actually suggested him as an option for Manchester United in a video I did a while back, and I think he'd be the perfect option for Arsenal alongside Thomas Partey in a midfield double pivot. See, Arsenal do need an upgrade on Granit Xhaka, who whilst is also a player who I think is underrated, being a very good progressor of the ball, does lack the press resistance and defensive qualities to be a top level central midfielder. Caqueret is of a similar ilk to someone like Marco Verratti, being small and diminutive around 5'8", but being fantastic under pressure, having the ability to receive the ball with his back to goal in the defensive third whilst under pressure, and being able to swivel out of the press and drive past the opposition player, which is going to improve Arsenal's ability to play out against high pressure, which will then allow the likes of Odegaard, Smith Rowe and Saka ahead to exploit the space in behind the opposition's high midfield line. But you do need a player like Caqueret in your side to be able to do this. Caqueret is also a very good long and incisive passer, which is critical for any deeper lying playmaker and would allow Arsenal to get the ball into the likes of Odegaard and Smith Rowe between the lines a lot more often. Despite his size, Caqueret is also very good defensively, being a very good pressing midfielder, knowing when to push out of the midfield line to apply the pressure, whilst also having the positional awareness to cut off passes in behind, which is incredibly important when playing in a midfield double pivot. His FBref report alone shows how good he is. He ranks in the 91st percentile for progressive passes, the 70th for progressive carries, and the 92nd for dribbles completed, showing his ball progressing ability, whilst also sitting in the 95th for pressures, the 93rd for tackles, and the 77th for interceptions, showing that Caqueret statistically is one of the best all-round central midfielders in Europe at the moment, and in my opinion has the potential to be world class, so £20 million is an absolute steal. Also, Atlantis Football is working in collaboration with El Clasico cases, so if you do like any of these phone cases, then click the link in the description. Anything you do buy will help support the channel, and if you use code AF at checkout, you'll also get a massive 25% off. However, the most important area for Arsenal to improve is definitely up front. Aubameyang and Lacazette will have been gone by the summer, and I think Arsenal should be looking to bring in RB Leipzig's Andre Silva as their replacement. Silva, who is 26-27 in November, was signed by RB Leipzig this summer from Eintracht Frankfurt for just £19 million, which is an insanely low fee considering in 2020-2021 he was the second highest goal scorer in the Bundesliga with 28 goals, one ahead of Erling Haaland and behind only Robert Lewandowski. This season he scored 9 in 24 Bundesliga games and 14 in 36 games in all competitions. But he isn't just a goal scorer, his link play outside the box is also very good as well, having the ball control to receive and then hold it up, combined with the subtlety in his touch to play quick passes with on-running players to link the attack. He's very much a striker in the mould of someone like Sergio Aguero, being a striker who is very good outside of the box as well as in front of goal. And Arsenal definitely need that kind of centre forward, linking with Martinelli and Saka, who would thrive making runs off of Silva's deeper movement, as they have done with Lacazette. Silva is a much better goal scorer than Lacazette by a long way, so straight off the bat he would improve Arsenal's attack without compensating for his contribution outside of the box. I reckon Arsenal would have to pay between £45 and £50 million for him, but he would without doubt be worth it, as he's one of the top 15 strikers in Europe at the moment in my opinion. So this would be my starting 11 for Arsenal: Ramsdale in goal, Frimpong and Tierney, two very good attacking fullbacks either side of Saliba and White, with Gabriel also an option, and Arsenal could even move move to back three with Gabriel and Saliba either side of White, with Tomiyasu a good option as well. In central midfield, I think Kakare and Partey would be exactly the balance that Arsenal need, with Xhaka and Lokonga as alternative options, and I would like to see Charlie Patino come into the side next season, and I may do a video analysing him, so subscribe and comment for that. And the same goes for 18-year-old Amari Hutchinson, who I think is just as big a talent, and videos on both of those will be on my list, but Arsenal have some great attacking options. Saka and either Martinelli or Smith Rowe either side of Odegaard looks very exciting, and having maybe Nelson or Pepe as another alternative option for depth would probably be a good idea as well. But with Silva up front, Arsenal would have a top level centre forward that they've been needing since Aubameyang's decline, and Balogun would provide competition and an alternative as well. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, remember to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, check out the description for more videos as well, and click the links to go to Score Draw and to get the iPhone cases, which will help to support the channel.